Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'd like to talk about two videos. One video is from Fox News talking about drones flying over the United States bases in the Middle East, and Sky News, they're talking about potential strike by Israel on Iran. So we'll go over that. But before we do, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the health supplements to help to slow down the aging process, increase your vitality and your longevity, and improve your immune system. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the great health supplements that I offer. You can purchase them either in an anti-aging box or individual items. For example, magnesium and zinc. This supplement is great to help boost up your immune system. You should be taking magnesium and zinc daily. If you are not feeling well because of the cold season, which we're in right now, take a double dose of it. Drink it with filtered water. So it's really important to take every day to help with your immune system. Omega-3, really important to help with your cardiovascular health. Omega-3 helps to prevent the red blood cells from sticking too much. When you take omega-3, you're reducing your chances of overclotting. In addition, omega-3 helps to bring down LDL levels and increase your HDL levels. So it improves your cholesterol. So this is part of the reason why you should be taking omega-3 every day to help with your cardiovascular health. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, get omega-3 and get the magnesium and zinc. All right, let's start with Fox News talking about the drones over U.S. bases.
Concerns are on the rise as we learn a fleet of mystery drones were spotted flying over U.S. military bases in Virginia last year for 17 straight days. Chuck DeVore is a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and Vice President of the Texas Public Policy Foundation.
I didn't know.
And he joins us now.
I thought this was going to be about what was going on in the Middle East, and this is even more concerning. It's in the United States.
Chuck, thanks for being with us. You wrote an op-ed about this. This happened a year ago. We're just now learning about it. Pretty shocking. What do we know about these drones?
Well, Will, first of all, thanks for having me on. But these drones were large. Some of them were as large as 20 feet long. These are the sorts of drones that would have to be launched likely off of a ship offshore. They also had smaller quadcopters that came down off of the larger mothership drones that hovered just above the ground. This happened for 17 straight nights at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, starting on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th. And when they started, Will, what ended up happening is you had endless meetings in the White House. Instead of the warriors defending the base and defending our nation, the Biden-Harris administration dispatched battalions of lawyers to try to figure out what to do. And at the end of the day, they were paralyzed and inaction, did nothing, and then the drone flight simply stopped.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions I need to understand. First, so you said they were large enough that they probably would have had to been launched from sea, from a ship off the coast. It seems inconceivable that would escape America's attention in terms of our surveillance, our spying from a foreign power. So I don't know how this happens or how. I don't know how. I guess I don't know how big a threat I'm supposed to take this as. Well, I don't know who could have possibly done this.
Well, Will, one of the ships was in fact inspected by the Coast Guard, and they couldn't find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are. And so I really think that what this does is it boils down to an administration that doesn't take these threats seriously. You just had on the previous segment the drone attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house. Of course, we've seen with Russia and Ukraine the utility of drones.
Right.
And yet somehow we're preventing our warriors from defending their own bases by saying, oh no, you need to get
This, even though I thought this was the Middle East issue that they were going to be talking about, I didn't realize this was a United States base issue. But this is proof positive of what I was saying. We're moving into Star Wars. And in the previous video, I was talking about drone warfare is changing the battle space, right? And in ways, it's increasing the surveillance state. It's, creating another layer of the surveillance state, but it also is an Achilles heel to some other conventional warfare kind of methods, all right? Because it can be used in an asymmetric way. The barriers of entry for certain types of these drones, especially the small ones with small munitions, low barriers of entry. So my take on this, it was probably either Russian or Chinese that did this, probably the Chinese. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Chinese. And that's maybe the reason why Biden administration doesn't want to do anything about it. Now, if they're not willing to do, let's just say it is the Chinese. Let's just say it's the Chinese. Now, if we're not willing to do anything with drones that the Chinese are launching, the reason why I say the Chinese because of the weather balloon issues and satellite spy issues that we've had throughout the Biden administration. But let's just say it's the Chinese. If we're not willing to do anything with the drones going over our bases and over our nuclear facilities, do you really think that we're going to do anything with Taiwan? At least under the Biden administration? Of course not. So we are in a new age of war. And it's not so clear cut. Just because prior successes or failures on the battle space in a different time period doesn't translate to this new era of warfare. And that could mean that the United States loses if it doesn't, do certain things. Like I said, at a metaphysical level, the United States is being cursed and blessed. And it's going to be based on its decision on how it conducts itself in the Middle East and align with the Israelis to knock out Iran if the United States is going to be blessed or cursed. If we decide to kick the can down the road, the United States and all of the blessings and all of the productivity and the safety that the United States has had for 2 centuries, all right, could be at risk because we decided to pick political expedience over doing the right thing. Now, if we do the right thing, we'll be blessed. If we do the wrong thing, we will be cursed, and this country will not be as prosperous as it used to be.
Mission from the Attorney General or from Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. No, that's wrong. Base commanders have an inherent authority within their command to defend their bases.
Well, why wasn't that done, Chuck? That'll be my final question for you. Okay, there's the issue of where these came from. The second, why wasn't anything done?
Well, the fear was there may be some collateral damage that could happen. They also wanted to use some of these advanced teams that they had, these anti-drone teams. There's only 2 of them. Mayorkas has not allowed more to be built. The problem with worrying about collateral damage is that any damage that would happen would be entirely the fault of the People's Republic of China. It's the People's Republic of China that's sending these drones into U.S. airspace, violating our airspace, just like they did with the spy balloon early last year that, as you recall, they never shot down until it got over the Atlantic Ocean.
Just to clarify on the way out, is that known then, Chuck? It's the PRC that flew these drones, or that's your suspicion?
It's my suspicion because they were large enough. They had to be nation state actors. And I believe only Russia and China have the capability to do this. And given the financial state of affairs with Russia versus China, I'm 99.5% sure that these were the Chinese operating these drones.
Incredible. Absolutely needs to be followed, more understood about this. future of warfare, which is perhaps
Star Wars.
as you point out, with
Oh, yeah.
the present of warfare. Chuck DeVore, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm Steve.
Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the lignans. Lignans helps to boost up your immune system and bring down inflammation. It's also an antioxidant. Please go to my store and get this powdered form of lignans. It'll also help with your hormonal health for males and females. Very important. Boost up your immune system. So your immune system, it has all the ingredients and all the capability to be able to fight infection and your immune system to be revved up to be able to try to fight cancers. That's the whole idea here. When your immune system is down, you can't fight cancers as well. When your immune system is better and your hormonal system is better, you can fight cancers better. It's that simple. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and boost up your immune system. Get the lignin powder, take it every day, mix it with your food or with filtered water. It's an antioxidant and it brings down inflammation. All right, so let's listen to Sky News here.
War in Ukraine, tension in the Taiwan States, growing conflict in the Middle East, all with the backdrop of a possible Trump second term. The world feels dangerous, uncertain, with Western values under threat. Earlier this week, Israel killed the leader of Hamas and is still waiting to strike Iran. So what might we expect to happen next? And what does all of it mean for us here? I can speak now to the former chief of MI6, Sir John Soares. Good morning, John.
Yeah, good morning, Trevor.
The Israeli Defense Force claims that the killing of Hamas's leader, Yahya Sinwar, was more or less an accident. He happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do. It's the Israelis have not held back from quietly claiming success when they killed Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, when they assassinated Hassan Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader in Beirut. They don't claim it publicly, but in private, it's pretty obvious what has happened. I think with Yahya Sinwar, the pressure the Israeli Defense Forces have imposed on Hamas over the last year, I think limited his options, and he emerged above ground unusually, I mean, unexpectedly for the Israelis. So they sort of stumbled across him, but they were pretty ruthless when they did find him.
A senior American general said this week that he thought that the assassination of Sinwar was actually more important than the capture of Osama bin Laden, because Sinwar wasn't just a figurehead, he was actually operationally, he was a military leader. Do you think that's right?
I'd have a slightly different.
Big retailers don't want you to have this zoom lens, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So there's this new super powerful monocular, and it's got the zooming.
I'd have a slightly different take. I think that was David Petraeus who said that. I would say that the conflict with Hamas is largely contained to the occupied territories of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. With bin Laden, it was a global struggle against the West. So I don't in any way downplay the success that the Israelis have had in taking out Sinwar and reducing Hamas's capabilities. But I think it'd be a stretch to say he was on a par with bin Laden, and I don't think it's in our interest to build him up to that extent either.
The big question, of course, that arises out of all of this is, does it make a ceasefire more or less likely? What do you reckon?
Well, in Gaza, I'm not sure it changes things a great deal. The Israelis feel that they've got both Hamas and Hezbollah, and to some extent Iran as well, on the back foot. They want to press home their advantage. I see that some members, the far-right members of Netanyahu's coalition, are saying that we shouldn't ease off, we should keep pressing forward. The one encouraging sign in this is that Netanyahu has himself now promoted or highlighted the situation of the hostages. I think that is now a big political goal for him, but it's very difficult for him with his present political setup to make concessions to Hamas that he wasn't prepared to make before. And Hamas will now be looking for a new leadership. I don't think it's likely that a sort of more moderate, compromising leadership is going to emerge. There's going to be a struggle between factions within Hamas, and the harder line factions are likely to emerge. And that's without mentioning the US election dynamic. I doubt if Netanyahu will want to give a success to the Biden-Harris administration just 2 weeks before the election, where he would probably prefer Donald Trump to emerge on top.
The other big player here, of course, is Iran. Thus far, they have been not quite neutral. I mean, they've obviously been active. But what do you think is going through the minds in Tehran right now?
Well, I think the Iranians were taken by surprise by the Hamas assault of 7 October last year. They had obviously built up Hamas to be able to do this sort of thing, but there was very little coordination, it seems, with Tehran. They've tried to keep out of a wider conflagration. One of the purposes of these militias like Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, is to be a sort of forward defense for Iran, so that Iran doesn't have to get directly involved itself. And there's a delicate moment coming in Iran. The supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, has been in power since 1991. That's what, 33 years. He's elderly, he's got prostate cancer. They are having to prepare for a transition. And they don't know exactly what the answer to that transition dilemma is. They don't know who's going to emerge as the new supreme leader, or what the balance might be between the military and the religious elements within the regime. So if you're going to go through what is probably the most delicate and difficult process for an autocratic regime, changing leadership, you need an atmosphere of calm around you, which is why I think the Iranians, by and large, not that they haven't been entirely neutral, of course, they did launch 2 volleys of missiles, first last April, the second 3 weeks ago, against Israel. But they are doing the minimum, I think, in order to try to keep out of this, because they do not want to be embroiled in a wider conflict with Israel, which might pull in the United States.
I'm sure that you would actually know for certain what the answer to this question is in your old job, but if you had to guess, what do you think the Israelis are going to do, and more importantly, when are they going to do it?
Against Iran?
Yes.
I think there will be some response. The defense minister perhaps got ahead of himself when he implied there'd be some form of intelligence operation, some form of cyber operation against Iran. The Americans have clearly been trying to restrain Israel. The Israelis might see an opportunity to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Obviously, one of our biggest concerns has been Iran's slow but gradual process towards acquiring nuclear weapons. But in order to strike these nuclear facilities, which are deep underground, under meters of concrete, they need the weaponry that only the United States can supply. So I think what we will see is some form of cyber attack against the nuclear facilities, possibly coupled with missile strikes against military facilities, but leaving a major strike, a major kinetic strike against either nuclear or oil facilities on one side, not pursuing that route.
While I've got you here, John, let me draw on your expertise in another arena, and that's China. Foreign Secretary's there right now. What do you think his visit can hope to achieve?
Well, I think what this new government is looking for is to strike a balance. We've been talking for several years about finding areas where we can cooperate with China, where we can compete with China, and where we challenge and stand up to China. But nobody defines exactly what is in each basket. We obviously have concerns about some Chinese behavior, the undermining of one country, 2 systems in Hong Kong, the intelligence challenges against the UK and human rights generally inside China. But the Labour government has set as its big goal economic growth. And you can't achieve economic growth without some engagement with the world's 2nd biggest economy. So I think David Lammy is looking to find a balance here, looking to find a way forward. We're not going to have another golden era, like George Osborne and David Cameron tried to pursue 10 or 12 years ago, that is off the table. But some form of pragmatic cooperation with China. Take electric vehicles, for example. We're very keen on pursuing an energy transition here in this country. And if we want to do that, you need more consumers to buy electric vehicles. Well, Chinese electric vehicles are much cheaper, maybe half the cost of most of the EVs on sale in the UK and European markets. Now, the United States and the European Union have both taken out tariffs against Chinese EVs. Question is, what does the UK do?
So if you were advising him briefly, you tell him to shut up about Jimmy Lai, the imprisoned dissident, and get on with some trade negotiations.
Well, I think he.
Are you ready for retirement? Our free retirement planner shows you where you stand now and how you can meet your goals.
Well, I think he will. We know David Lammy. He will raise human rights issues, I'm sure. But I think he will look, as I say, to find some form of. But it won't so much be trade negotiations, but he'll be looking for a trade and investment arrangement with China, which feeds into the Keir Starmer government's main goal, which is to revive economic growth here in Britain. I think that'll be the underlying purpose of what David Lammy is trying to do.
One last point. Your sort of equivalent at MI5 now said this week that we face serious threats here at home. 3/4 of them probably from Islamist extremists and a quarter from far right. Do you think that's right? And if so, what should we be doing?
Well, I'm sure Ken McCallum is right, because he wouldn't have said it if it wasn't right. So I think we are still facing a serious challenge from terrorism here, both Islamic terrorism and far-right terrorism. And we're also facing problems of being stirred up by the Russians through their organised crime networks here in the UK. The Islamic terrorism may actually get a further boost, if that's the right word, from events in the Middle East. The frustrations that we'll be seeing because of the lack of movement on the Palestinian question, because of the violence people are witnessing every day. And it could be that Hezbollah and Hamas, the new leaderships there, are focused so much on violence that they become not just terrorist organizations designated by Western countries and aimed against Israel, but they could revert back to international terrorism, including here in the UK. So I think MI5, the police, the other intelligence agencies like my former one, MI6, they need to be very much on their toes to watch out for a further rise in Islamic terrorism. I'm absolutely confident that they are exactly doing that.
Sir John Sawyers, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Every time someone
Israel is going to strike Iran. The question is, with this leaked information, is it a head fake? Is it gonna, try to circumvent the operation? Obviously, the Israelis have momentum on the battlefield by knocking out Sinwar, the head of Hamas. They knocked out the leadership apparatus with Hezbollah. Iran launched missiles and hit certain areas of Tel Aviv. Israel has to strike. Now, the question is, how big of a strike is it going to be? I personally think that it's going to be a large strike. I would be surprised if they don't hit some above ground nuclear facilities. I think it would be prudent to have a multiple day strike, not just one day or overnight strike. I think it needs to be a multiple day strike. Now, because of these leaked documents, it creates a new sense of unknown. Counterintelligence, head fake, internal spying within within the ally community. Who knows? Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Get the multivitamin that I offer. This is an easy to digest multivitamin. You should be taking multivitamins every day. Multivitamins are important because they are cofactors for enzymatic activity. So if you have the cofactors, your enzymes are going to perform better. So that means you'll have better metabolism, better cellular processes. So please take this multivitamin. You should add this to your daily routine. Lastly, I partnered up with Rainbow Herbals and we've developed these deodorant bars. These deodorant bars are either in peppermint, lavender, and tea tree or citrus. They are made from essential oils from the Himalayas. These deodorant bars are for males and females. They're made from very high quality ingredients. It has no aluminum and no baking soda in it. Use this every day, and it's a dual purpose product. It helps to detoxify your body too. So please get a couple bars of these deodorants and help support our work, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and helps support your health. These are high quality deodorants. They don't have any of the crazy chemicals that are in Unilever or Procter and Gamble type products. So please get an all natural deodorant and help to detoxify your body. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. That's the end of this transmission for this video. Please subscribe to all my channels. I have 4 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. If you could, please help donate. My videos are for free. I have thousands of videos out there, and it's through the donations and the people that purchase on the store that help me do these videos to inform the public on international affairs, on finance, and on how to improve your health and your well-being. So please donate if you could on my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, or Buy Me a Coffee, or you can be a paid member to my Patreon channel. I have different membership levels on Patreon. The higher tiered membership also gets some access to some of the lectures that I've done on pulmonology and immunology. Thank you for listening. Please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. Have a nice day.